good evening to you out there. This is African Free Press Television, where we report Africa from a refreshing perspective. And this time we're talking stories around Africa. My name is Leo Ogeta. About 65 people were killed and another 70 injured after suspected Boko Haram insurgents launched a night attack on Dalori village on the outskirts of Maiduguri, Borno State. The casualty figures came from villages and aid workers, while the media coordinator of Operation Lafi Adole Theatre Command, Mustafa Anka, who confirmed the attack, did not give casualty figures. However, Mr. Anka said the attackers, who came to the village in two golf saloon cars, targeted members of the local vigilance group, the civilian JTF. Mr. Anka also said the motive of the insurgents was to penetrate the Dalori IDP camp, but said the attempt was resisted by soldiers, which resulted into detonation of improvised explosive devices by the suicide bombers. And meanwhile, the Nigerian army has warned members of the public to be wary of people dressed as madmen, especially in the northeast, saying they could be suicide bombers waiting to detonate their explosive devices. Acting Director of Defense Information, Brigadier General Rabi Abubakar, issued the warning last Saturday following Friday's bomb blast at Gombe Market at Mar State, which resulted in the death of 10 people. He said the two male suicide bombers who dressed like madmen and carried out suicide bomb attack in Gombe at Mar State is instructive in this direction. And Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta has on Sunday led African leaders in passing a resolution that could result in African countries withdrawing from the Rome Statute that established the International Criminal Court (ICC). And the latest assault on the court, and just 2 weeks after the no case to answer motion submissions by Deputy President William Ruto and his co-accused Joshua Arap Sang. The African Union, during a meeting held in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, adopted a decision to develop a strategy for the mass withdrawal of African countries from the International Criminal Court (ICC). President Uhuru Kenyatta said the African continent would have to contend with the International Criminal Court that pursued weak and politicized cases. And still on the African Union, the body has decided against sending peacekeepers to crisis-hit Burundi after the embattled government said that any such move would be considered as an invasion. AU Commissioner for Peace and Security Ismail Chegui told a press conference in Ethiopia capital last Sunday that a proposed deployment of 5,000 troops would be deferred until permission was granted by Bujumbura. The decision came after a closed-door session at the EU where African leaders are meeting for a two-day summit, although the decision was not a surprise considering Burundi's opposition to the plan. The African Union delegation would now fly to Burundi to hold talks aimed at ending the violence. And the two South African men found guilty of murdering Mozambican Manuel Josias Sithole have now been sentenced to 10 and 17 years respectively. The killing happened last April at the height of a wave of xenophobic violence, but police say the motive was robbery. The cause got massive attention after being captured on camera by photojournalist James Otway. His death led Garcia Machel, widow of Nelson Mandela, to call for unity in the country. On a previously unknown population of at least 100 lions has been discovered by a wildlife charity in a remote park in northwestern Ethiopia. Born Free Foundation said it had obtained camera trap images and identified lion tracks in the Atlash area close to the border with Sudan. The area is thought to have lost all its lions in the 20th century because of hunting and habitat destruction. The number of lions in Africa has declined by half since the 1990s. The lions are thought to be of the Central African subspecies, of which only about 900 were thought to survive. Born Free Foundation's programs manager Mike Jones told BBC Day's Newsday program. And Nigeria is holding talks with the World Bank to help it fund a forecast $11 billion, that is £7.7 billion budget deficit. However, Finance Minister Kemi Adeosun said in a statement that it was not applying for an emergency loan. Nigeria is believed to be looking for around $3.5 billion from the World Bank and the African Development Bank. Africa's largest economy has been hit hard by the recent fall in oil prices, and the government needs to find new sources of income to fund its budget. Last year's government budget was largely financed by oil revenue. And these are the stories we're tracking for you around Africa, coming from African Free Press, your favorite station. For more stories, please do log on to our website at www.africanfreepress.com. Follow us on Twitter at African Free Press. Like our Facebook page at africanfreepress.com. Join us in our discussions on various interesting topics at African Free Press Forum and subscribe to our YouTube channel at African Free Press. My name is Leo Okefa. Good night.